Hello, viewers, and welcome to the Lifestyle Show. You are with me, your host, Catherine Ngovi, and that is my sign name. Today, our guest, as you can see, a very handsome man, and let him introduce himself.
So my name is Eddie Butita, but I was given a sign name which is
Eddie. So I'm happy that you honored our invite to come here at Science TV. How are you feeling?
it's amazing being the first time I'm having this type of an interview. It's also good to be able to get a new audience that has been following me and have a conversation with them.
Nice, interesting. So, how did you start your, acting career, and what exactly inspired you to, get into acting?
It started like I think 12 years ago, and mostly it's because it's one area I really loved because starting from high school, I was passionate about drama and acting. And so after high school, I started doing auditions, going for auditions at the theaters. And now, which later we transformed into trying comedy auditions at Churchill Show, which later he succeeded to perform. So that's where the career kicked off at a Churchill Show on MTV. That was 12 years ago.
Wow, that's nice. So, have you ever thought about including the deaf in your acting and your drama?
Yeah, early this year there's a project I was working on. I was mainly behind the scene, part of the planning, and we tried it for the first time. It was called Through Thick and Thin by Njugush, the comedian. So for the first time, we had a sign interpreter the entire show, even the end product that was released has that yeah, it has a sign interpreter all along. So it has been a bit difficult to understand how to be able to translate art, but after engaging with a few people, we understood that uh, it might not be difficult the way we think. So the idea is to include people can interpret so that also they can be able to consume this content, because we find a lot of fans like we are your fans, but they get to maybe people are close to them that the ones who explain what we do, but yet they have been following us all along. Like during the Deaf Awareness Week, I was able to meet a lot of fans that have been watching me, and I felt like then we should be including them from the beginning so that they can't have difficulty in accessing our content. So it can be direct. They don't need someone else close to them to explain to them. So we tried it and it worked this year. Probably we might make it a normal thing to have someone to interpret our type of content.
That's really interesting. Is it possible for, for you to, learn sign language so that, it can be easy for you to interact directly with the deaf instead of always relying on an interpreter? Are you ready to learn sign language? It's 3 months. Okay, 3 months, then that means you learn the basics. Then afterwards, you with through the interaction with the deaf, then you become, an expert, and it becomes easy to communicate with the deaf.
So for you to be somehow an expert to hold a conversation and be able to understand things and ask questions. So technically, we are talking about what duration?
For me, I think 1 year is sufficient. If you always, interact with the is sufficient. But if you interact with the deaf in your daily life, then it can be even 6 months.
Oh yeah. because for me, when I see people interpreting, like I saw a chart that has the deaf alphabet, the sign alphabet, which was A to Z. But now, mostly when I see the interpretation, sometimes one sign is equals to one word. So, do I need to know, like, if I want to say boy, do I need to interpret BOY, or boy is just one sign?
Yes, that's boy.
But
Boy. It's one. It represents that.
But what is B in the alphabet?
That's B.
This is B.
Yes, that's B.
So what is
Then
O?
O.
O. Then Y.
Y.
So me doing both also gives me boy. Or I have to do.
Yes, you can do both. If you do BOY, that's when you're spelling it. Then if you do that, then that is the sign.
So the shorter so the idea is to get a short version.
Yes, the idea is to get the shorter version. Boy.
Oh, I can try. I'll try and see if I can start with the basics. It's quite interesting to see. Like I saw the Charlene Ruto did it in 3 months, and she was holding a conversation last week during the event.
Yes, exactly. So as I've said, I cannot wait to, see you using sign language signing. And then when I meet you one day, I'm sure we'll communicate in sign language. That's fine. Great. That's okay. So how did you start your company? How exactly is it you started your company?
It has we started with a marketing agency in 2017, which was doing purely it was marketing and creating ideas for companies and strategies. So that one was based for events and marketing. But then in 2020, when there was COVID, since we could not do public events and more ground activities, is when we started the idea of online media, which was how SPM Buzz was born. So SPM was a company that gave birth to SPM Buzz, and now it also gave birth to the SPM Africa Studios, which was doing productions. Yeah. So basically, it is a post-COVID idea based on how behaviors changed, how we started living by COVID, doing everything at home, and just measuring on digital as an avenue to communicate to people.
Meaning, does the online aspect of it continues, or did that stop? Wait.
Yes, yes. We still continue the digital marketing side, because that's was one of our foundations, and we cannot. It has led to all this.
That's really interesting. So right now we're going to have our first commercial break, and we'll be right back to continue the discussion. Welcome back, viewers. Before on the show, we were discussing about the Butita's life, how he developed interest, and how he started his company. Now, another question would be, when developing your skate and Nas Toto, how exactly did you come up with that idea?
The series.
Yes, the
Oh yeah. No, it was
Toto, the Toto.
Last Toto.
It was based on a hospital drama. We really wanted a story that can show how the health industry is changing based on the new generation of youths. Because long ago it used to be a very serious matter, but right now generations are changing. We have people who are adapting to the use of tech and the use of looking so urban. So we wanted to show people a generational conflict in the health industry. So basically, it's a reflection of the society. on how, if we're not careful, the health in the industry might be at crisis.
Now, also, your show was, got the award for the best, Sheng, for the best Sheng movie. So how did you feel, winning that award?
No, actually, it was just it was not an award as per se. It was just being the first person to be given an opportunity to change an American comedy show to be able to be consumed by our Sheng audience. So it was the first time it was happening, and I was so excited because being also a pioneer and a pacemaker, that would have been that is an opportunity that opened a lot of doors. So the reason why a lot of things work for us is because also that moment gave us validation, and the people started trusting our brand.
Wow, that's really good. So how exactly do you come up with the, idea for your script? Because your scripts are always very interesting and very nice. How do you come up with the idea?
Real life, real life situations, and being authentic and making sure people relate, because when people relate with the story, they fall in love with the story, they like the story because they have seen it every day, they can interact, they see a character and this is like one of their brothers, one of their sisters. So we try and make sure the characters represent real people, they represent people that we meet every day. So I think being real and authentic is what makes the scripts stand out. So I usually not get ideas from a different world. It's just the people I meet and the people I interact with.
Is it possible, maybe, to include the deaf while making your scripts?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's quite a good challenge because at the end of the day, acting is a reflection of the society. It's a reflection of who we are. So including someone who is deaf also is, I think it's a good start to show that this is the entire community. Like everyone is represented, because at the end of the day, uh, acting should mirror how the society is. So it's these are things we might be willing to try, but I'm sure with a bit of coordination from people like you, so that we can also know how to execute that and be able to serve both audience in a good way.
Is it possible that while you're writing, scripts and the stories, you can maybe write a script with the character in mind and then, give it to a deaf actor to act it out?
Yes, because I think that's very important, because sometimes there is how we communicate and there is how the deaf community communicates. So even the type of humor, for example, when you're doing comedy, might vary, but at the end of the day, it's communication. So even if we work together to see if you are communicating it correctly, not necessarily giving them a script to interpret in their own way, but working together and saying this is how it can be communicated.
That's very interesting. I'm really hoping that that will come, so that will come to happen so that we can work together in the future. Now, you being as
Because I like the concept of being able to accommodate everyone, even the concept of having a TV station like this. It's a good start and shows that we are headed towards a good direction of inclusivity and diversity. Yeah.
that's interesting. What exactly, do you love most doing? Like your hobbies. What are your hobbies?
I'm really trying to find them. I've never known how to categorize a hobby and something you're doing when you're not working. But my goal now is to have a good social life because I feel like a hobby should be something, should not be one thing because it might be boring. For me, I think a hobby is trying different things that make you happy in different times. Because if you say your hobby is watching movie or going for a walk, nature walk, but if you can't do that for 10 years. So for me, hobby is trying something new every time that makes you happy.
Interesting. Could you please, maybe give a final advice on for both, the deaf and the hearing who want to become actors in the future?
The space is so big. Content is now one of the things that has opportunities to make money. And I feel like there is a lot of stories that have not been told, especially also to the deaf community. Not everyone has been including them to storytellings. So I feel if they can also come together and create concepts, create films, create scripts that can be shared across, but can be consumed by a lot of people that are deaf, it can really create a new market and new opportunities. Those who want to act can get jobs. Those who want to be behind the scene can get jobs. And also it can be a source of entertainment for many because there'll be a sense of belonging. Because if you look even at the history of film, it started with the silent era films that was in about, I think, in the year 1894 to 1890, 96, 97. Those eras is when the guys like Edison, they discovered, that's when film was discovered. And people like Charlie Chaplin became famous by just doing silent films. So if you look at the foundation of film, basically it was not based on audio, it was based on actions. So, and currently, even if you look at people who are becoming, who are going viral worldwide, it's content that does not have a specific language attached to it because it's more diverse and everyone can understand it. So for me, I feel like the deaf community, they're standing at a place where you can communicate to a diverse audience by coming up with good content. So that's how you cut across, you go global quick. Look at the things that go global. They're not English based, French based. Mostly uh, they don't have even audio. So looking at the foundation of film, from silent films, how films were great, I feel like if this community come together and create content, they can not only be consumed with the deaf community, but also people who are able to speak because to speak or hear, because it's the only form of art that can cut across if well packaged.
Wow, that's very interesting. I'm very touched by that. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying tuned. Sorry, just before we close the show, maybe could you please share with us your social media platforms so that, our viewers can follow and see more of your content?
Basically on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all social media platforms. My name Eddie Butita. That's the name I use across all media platforms.
Thank you. that's all we had for you today, viewers. Thank you so much for staying tuned for this interesting conversation that we've had with the amazing Eddie. And I believe that you've taken in the advice that you've gotten from him as well. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying tuned, and goodbye.